most famously known as one of the most skilled lightsaber duelists and Sith Lords we have ever seen in Star Wars history. He's perhaps even more famous for his past. His past as one of the most powerful and noted Jedi Masters of his era. A Jedi Master even held above the standards of Mace Windu, and according to some, the equal of Grandmaster Yoda. But as we would come to learn following Dooku's turn to the dark side of the Force, he was always, secretly so, fascinated with the dark side. In today's video, we will discuss Count Dooku's, or at the time, Padawan Dooku's first encounter with the dark side of the Force, and how it would ultimately shape him into one of the most skilled Jedi killers and Jedi betrayers of all time. As is common with most Jedi turned Sith Lords, Dooku was extremely exceptional and powerful, even as a Jedi Padawan. As a Jedi youngling, he was among the first of his class to be selected by a Jedi Master for training. Even again as a youngling, it was a shoo-in that one day Dooku would become a noted and powerful Jedi Master. His skills with the lightsaber as well as the Force were simply on another level than his peers. And with this, just as it later would the Padawan Anakin Skywalker, would breed great jealousy. Jealousy by the other Jedi Padawans that Dooku trained with. One of Dooku's closest friends as a Jedi Padawan was named Lorri Nad, who was also a skilled Padawan in his own right. The two of them were the top of their class. However, much to Nad's disappointment and anger, Dooku was selected first to be trained by a Jedi Master. And even more crushing to Nad than this, Dooku was selected by a Jedi that currently sat upon the Jedi Council. It was this single act of his friend being chosen before him that led Nad to question his existence as a Jedi. Nad knew that he wanted power, but he was unsure if the Jedi path was the best way to attain this power. Because of this, Nad devised a plan to break into the Jedi archives and steal power for himself. He did not want to leave the Jedi Order yet though. First, he needed to prove his superiority over his friend Dooku, and prove to the Jedi Master that had not selected him that he was the superior prodigy. Once breaking into the Jedi archives, Nad would make the biggest mistake of his life. Not only selecting a Sith holocron, but the most dangerous Sith holocron in the temple. One of the most ancient and dark side oriented artifacts that the Jedi Order had ever been able to obtain. A holocron so dangerous that even the Jedi Council members refused to look upon it. We will discuss more about this ancient holocron in a future video. All you need to know though is that it was extremely old and extremely dangerous. Wanting to reconcile with his friend, Dooku ventured to Nad's room, where upon entering the room, he witnessed the young Jedi Padawan looking intensely into the Sith holocron. For a moment, Dooku paused, as he felt something he had never had through the Force. It was here for the first time that he experienced the true state of the dark side, but it wasn't quite as awful as his masters had described. There was something about it that seemed to call to the young Dooku. Something warm, something welcoming. Just then though, the Jedi Master Oppo Rancisis entered the room, utterly shocked that the lost holocron was stolen by the seemingly two innocent Jedi Padawans. Oppo took the holocron for himself, again hiding it deep within the Jedi archive, somewhere no Padawan or even Knight should ever venture. It was here that Nad implicated Dooku in stealing the holocron, although this was completely untrue. Nad explained that together the two Jedi Padawans had broken into the archives in hope of furthering their power and prospects as Knights. In this moment, Dooku was too shocked to contradict him, still too overwhelmed by this feeling of warmth that the dark side had granted him. When finally brought before the Jedi Council separately though, Dooku revealed the truth. He revealed that it was Nad and Nad alone that had stolen the dark holocron from the archive, and that he had done no such thing, that he was simply worried for his friend, thus why he entered the room. A true statement. Following this, Dooku was allowed to remain a Jedi Padawan, although some of his mentors would look at him more closely for a time. Nad though was cast from the Jedi Order, a disgrace and a failure. For decades though, something remained within Dooku's mind. Maybe less than a thought and more of a feeling. That feeling that he had when he entered Nad's room. A feeling that that holocron had granted him. Something that would grow into a dangerous and deep obsession. But that is how a Jedi Padawan Dooku as well as Nad stole a Jedi holocron from the records, or at least seemed so at first. But leave your own thoughts on this in the comments down below, and be sure to stay tuned on the channel for more information on this Sith holocron.